Hey guys, what's up? It's Matt, and I'm not Santa Claus, but today I'm going to look like it. It is the RYLA Routine, and we have our last but not least member of our leadership team, Kyle, with us. Kyle, what up, man?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I am great. I am great. Where are you at today?
I am back in the great state of Kansas, Kansas City, Kansas, KCK, at the parents' house, just hanging out. Just got here a couple days ago, so we're here for the long haul for Christmas.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. What's your favorite part of Christmas?
Um, that's tough. I mean, spending time with family. Um, Used to be getting gifts, but the more I get older, I just buy stuff that I need, right? So,
Right.
um, I do. I love the decorations too. Christmas lights are fun to go look at. Um, Found a new favorite decoration, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, what's that?
Um, well, you really see it everywhere, and I don't think that you realize you see it all the time until you see it. So my favorite is a little red truck. It's on a Christmas tree,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's everywhere. They're
I,
they're they're doormats. They're on baskets. They're ornaments.
this dude,
They're
this dude on TikTok that made that video about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, like honestly, I do not think people understood how many Christmas trees were in the back of little red trucks,
100%.
and they are everywhere.
100%.
Tommy Jane
They're
had
everywhere.
Tommy Jane found ornaments the other day, and I was like, I bet you can't make those into earrings. And she sure as hell made them into little red truck carrying hauling Christmas trees. I know I've seen Ziploc baggies, right? I've seen like everything.
Yep. Yep. Snack baggies and snack boxes and yeah, everywhere. They're
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, and outside of the family piece, I think one of my favorite things is dressing for the holidays. I've made it a good run of about 3 weeks of something Christmas every day. Um, you got a favorite holiday
Ooh. Um, Honestly, I don't think I can give you I don't think I can give you a favorite. I'm looking at the TV that's turned off, like that's gonna help me. Um, I don't think I can give you a favorite. Christmas Vacation's good. Christmas with the Cranks is good. Then you have your Elf and your Polar Express and stuff like that. I don't think I can narrow down a favorite Christmas movie actually.
Speaking of TikTok, there's been like this TikTok trend of like they're like almost doing them like brackets and like
Oh yeah, yeah,
popping up, and people are like it's build populating a bracket.
yeah.
Um,
What's your favorite?
oh, dude, it's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
yeah,
it's not it's the hidden gems inside Christmas Vacation. It's the role that cousin Eddie plays that just absolutely steals the show. If cousin Eddie's not in the show in it, it's fine. It's not near what it is. But the one liners that dude drops in there just absolutely crushes it. I mean, he like Randy Quaid just absolutely just goes off on it. I did watch. So it's interesting. The kids, we had taken the girls up to Coffeeville yesterday to my sister-in-law and brother-in-law's, and so they could bake cookies and hang out with them for a little while. And literally, like the kids were watching Christmas Vacation in the car, and so like I can just hear it, and the whole time I'm like in my head and out loud, like reciting it as the movie's going along without even seeing it. I don't know how many times I've seen it this season, but I'm on a good run. Did watch.
yeah.
I will tell you. Speaking of movies, it kind of jumping into the RYLA side of things, and I watched Grader for the first time yesterday about Brandon Burlsworth that played at the University of Arkansas. And
Okay.
Rick Steiner and Ron had always told me this story, and I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to go watch it. So the guy was a walk on at the University of Arkansas and graduated All American and was drafted by the Colts. And before he signed his NFL contract, died in a car wreck.
Wow.
So but the story is of hard work, persistence, character. um Grew up with an alcoholic father. Dad didn't live in the house, but like I mean it's just a great story. And it's honestly it's a hard story because it ends with, I mean, at the beginning of the movie something happened because they're at his funeral, but it just kind of ends on a note of an interesting kind of somber moment. But at the very end of the movie there's something spelled across the football field. I won't leak that because I think it all of a sudden ties it all up. And if you're a person that can kind of get into a football movie plus get into some motivation, I mean, the guy was, you know, a walk on that was never mom had a second mortgage on her house, like to get him through college, leading to his first year, and that's all she could afford was 1 year. So if he didn't get on scholarship, it wasn't going to happen, and ends up being a
Right.
scholarship player. And now there's a, on an annual basis, NCAA awards the Brandon Burlsworth Trophy, which is to the best walk on. Baker Mayfield won it, I'm pretty sure. I think, because I mean, what people don't know is that cat was a walk on the University
Right.
of Oklahoma. Like, and then all of a sudden, dude wins a Heisman Trophy, and it's having somewhat of a little bit of resurgence, trying to get a comeback right here. But yeah, you got to go see Grader. I watched Elf yesterday and watched that, so I kind of got the uplifting, and then I got this like motivational side of like real reality of life that, this 22-year-old kid that was about to play in the league. On that side of things. So speaking of kids, I mean, we're no longer kids anymore, right? So we come in, you come into camp back in the day from Fredonia, Kansas, right? We listened to Aaron talk a little bit about Fredonia. I think that she alluded a little bit to how you got to camp, but tell us about Kyle getting to camp as a camper.
Yeah, I did. So I didn't know. I mean, I'll credit Aaron with. I don't give Aaron enough credit most of the time, but I'll credit Aaron with pretty much everything as it comes to RYLA, at least getting me there. So she had gone in the past. I didn't want anything. I didn't want anything to do with it. I wanted to sleep in my own bed. I didn't want to go meet strangers, and hang out with people that I didn't know. So the Rotary Club ended up picking two of us, and Aaron kind of made it to where it was me. And all up till the morning that we left, I was still not going. And I still can't even tell you why I jumped in the car. But maybe it was because a friend of mine was going, Shannon was going. She was great. We'd obviously been friends for a while, and but I don't know the reason why I jumped in the car, and I still really don't today. I just jumped. It was kind of like a gut feeling type of thing, and I just jumped in a car and headed south, and it was 3.5 hours. I don't think anybody said a word on the way down.
How did you get to camp? Who took you?
Um, if memory serves, a fellow by the name of JJ Merkwa, which is actually another friend of mine's dad. She was in the same class as mine as well. Shelby Merkwa, and
I
if
guess
memory
he was
serves, her
Rotarian.
dad.
He was
I'm
Rotarian.
sorry.
He
Yeah,
Rotarian.
yeah, yeah.
So
So yeah,
three and a half hours of no talking, just silence, and then what?
yeah, pretty much. And then you get to camp, and it's just kind of like you walk in. We didn't. Again, if memory serves, man, like correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't have the tunnel. Like we didn't have that. You know what I mean? You just kind of walked in. It wasn't like it wasn't like a crazy, just like shock and awe experience that we sometimes get from people that come today. It was just a hey, like walk in. Hi, I'm Tracy Dean. I'm the co-chair. Here's where your cabin is. You guys can drive up there, drop their stuff off, be in the gym by 1:00, 1:15, whatever it was. And it was like, okay. So we went and did that. I walked into the cabin and I was like, no. this this is not like what am I doing here? So the backstory to that is KU was doing really well that year in basketball. And I tell people this all the time because I mean it's what happened, and they were doing really well. That was when we had it in the spring, even a little later in the spring, like in early April,
Right.
because the Final Four and the national championship were coming up. Well, my family got tickets to that, so I wasn't able to go to the Final Four game because that was on Saturday night at RYLA, and the championship was on Monday. So I distinctly remember just that's pretty much a lot of what I thought about, and I didn't take just to be fully transparent, I didn't take a lot from RYLA my camper year because I was worried about if they win Saturday night, I'm going to New Orleans on Monday to go to the championship game. So Saturday night, I'm checking the scores. I don't even remember what we were doing on Saturday night. Maybe it was the Tribe Challenge or something, but I'm checking the scores on my phone, looking at this KU game. So I only have bits and pieces that I took from camp because I was a child that I'm going to call myself a child. I was an immature high schooler that cared more about sports and KU than what was happening right in front of me.
Right.
So, it was I think it's a very unique experience from that perspective. I granted I did take things away. Of course, I had friends that I had made as a camper, chiefs and CITs that I'd made friends with. that of course I still know today, talk to today, keep up with today. So, you know, I took a lot of stuff from it. I remember a lot of the sessions that you and Ron did. So I did take stuff away from it, but I wasn't as connected as I should have been or could have been.
Right.
So that's what really drove me to actually come back as a CIT, because I didn't feel in my heart of hearts that I really gave it a shot, if that makes sense. A full on 100% I'm connected to this and what's going on shot. So that's the reason why I applied to come back as a CIT.
What I mean, so at some point there's something that happens that's to the point where Kyle's willing to, hear. I mean, what was your camper year? 13?
12.
12. So
It was your first year. Yeah.
here 11, yeah. So here 11 years later, you're willing to continue to come back. Like, what moment did it become more than just where did it click that you're gonna we want to be a part of this at a higher level, and what did that look like?
That's a tough question, and I say that because there's a lot, and every year it's different. It seems like every year there's a moment that gets me to come back. And I at some point I made the decision that, and I think I've even told you this before, that I made the decision that I'm either coming back to RYLA, or Matt's going to tell me, hey, you can't. It's not, I'm not coming back. It's Matt's going to be like, dude, you're done, like whatever. But a lot of that was, again, the first couple years when I came back as a chief for a CIT, and we had that was back when we had the candlelight affirmations. And there was just so much. It was like, for whatever reason, the candlelight affirmations, that was where people opened up. And I don't know if it was the atmosphere underneath the stars at camp with the candlelight, or what it was, but you're standing face to face as a staff member with a student or a camper, and they just absolutely open up to you, and you can open up right back, and it's a one-on-one exchange. It's not a whole group. They're not forced to talk, because we went around the circle, right, to try to kind of tee it up for the people that don't know what I'm talking about. Everybody stood in a circle, everybody had a candle, and it was a one-on-one, just like we're having right now.
Right.
So it's a really cool opportunity to get to know like these kids and understand that everybody has stuff going on in their life, no matter what. Like, everybody has stuff going on, and you have no idea what that is. So that was one of the key things that I wanted to make sure that I instilled in people every year, and even just everybody in my life around me, is that you have no idea what's going on. So just like continue to be nice. If they're shutting you out, giving you a bad attitude, just continue to be nice. Like, don't use that excuse of, well, he's giving me a bad attitude, so I'm going to give you a bad attitude back. And always be positive, and always understand that you don't understand what's going on in people's life. And so that was a big one, is the candlelight affirmations, for sure.
Gotcha. What are what are like 2 or 3 of your like absolute RYLA moments?
It's funny because I think we even talked about it this year, and I didn't realize the kind of the background behind it until I watched Aaron's interview with you. Well, I don't know how long ago now, a month or two ago now. But the big one for me was when, and she had said that her and Olivia and like Katie Bromley were up on the stage already when We Are Young by Fun came on. And I guess I didn't realize that. But everybody just went up there, and that was again when the whole camp could fit on that stage. And again, it was one of those that I was really skeptical at the time. I was like, man, this is weird. Like, this is kind of sappy, like whatever. And then it got to the point where, dude, I'm crying. Like, I don't know who I'm standing next to, and we're all hugging and we're all just crying. And like, it was just one of those like surreal, like it all just came together right there. And it didn't, again, like I said earlier, it didn't matter what you had going on, where you came from, what your background was, the past and how you were shaped, all that good stuff. It was, we were all just one coherent unit. And we were all there to support each other. And that was really cool. The second one, again, I think that you guys had already talked about, was the individual that we took over the wall. Let's see, what year was that? I don't even remember what year that was. Is that 16? I don't remember when it was. but that's another big one. Like they never seem to think that they can make that wall. And then when they make that wall, it's like they're unstoppable. And
Right.
just seeing that, they're just like, I can go and literally be on top of the world now, all because I got over a 14-foot wall. Like that's it. And
Yeah.
that switch of I am bound to only doing this. And then that switch comes and it's no, I can go and literally be on top of the world just because I overcame this obstacle. So that's really cool to see. That's another one that's almost every year. It's not even just one specific thing, but that one that you guys had talked about was a big one for sure. And then of course, agree to disagree is probably my third. That's just one again where it's like you and I don't have the same views. You and I might not like the same things.
Right.
We talk all the time, but at some point, like we're not the same person. But that has no influence on you and I's relationship. And I think that that's a really good activity for people to understand that. And it's really eye opening because I don't think a lot of people expect the questions that are asked.
Right. Yeah.
Just to be honest. And it's like it's kind of the shock and awe at the beginning of, oh, like this is really what we're talking about, right? Like it's like, oh man, wow, okay, we're getting deep. And then you look over and man, the guy that you rode in the car with is on the other side, and you're like,
Yeah.
so that's definitely my third one. Those are probably my top three for sure.
What's interesting is so David Bevan hit me up yesterday, and the Claremore Reveille Club on Thursday had their students come back and share, and him and Robin were there. And I just grabbed my phone because I wanted to make sure I got it right. So there's a state representative. His name's Mark Lepac, who's from Claremore. And I guess he was in attendance. I think he is a Rotarian. And it said that I'm gonna read this text. It said, I had the students speak about our club. We all wore New Day shirts. He was amazed by the shirts. He took pictures of them and said that it should be posted in the house at the state capitol. Of course, who knows how far that might go. The students talked about agree, disagree. And he said everybody from the state house and Senate needs to do just that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we got, I do. I think that moment at camp is just so pivotal because it is. I mean, we talk about our thumbprints, and two identical twins have two different thumbprints and two different paths and how we're shaped and beliefs, etc. Whether that be the aspects of, the same household they grew up in, yet at the same time, the same parents, the same household income. And then all of a sudden you get into all these factors of like who's invested in those kids,
Right.
religion, etc., like where they've spent time, who they spend time with, that builds all of that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the agree disagree component of this thing is the world we live in. I mean, it's all of the above. And so for somebody in politics to acknowledge that, like, well, I mean, that's really what we got to get to. We just got to kind of get to
Right.
agree, disagree, and like it's not a game. It's one big world of agree, disagree, and the sooner people could get over their own and acknowledge, like, if we could figure this out together, just because we're different doesn't mean we can't get on the same page. And
Right.
it may not be the exact page, but a page that's beneficial for all concerned, right? So we talk about the 4-way test. Is it beneficial to all concerned? And
Right.
there's a lot of decisions that are made that unfortunately marginalize one group or the other because people can't get in the same room, or it's a numbers game in general. Like, 8 friends want to go do this, and the 2 friends that don't want to go do it end up going and doing it just because the 8 friends said, let's go, and you got
Yeah.
2 people that really don't want to be there, but they don't want to speak up, and whatever that may be a good thing, a bad thing, whatever it may be. But it's as simple as that. If we say, hey, Kyle, we're going to go get dinner, and you say, okay, great, I want pizza, and Matt and everybody else says we want a burger.
Right.
Well, do we say, well, I mean, Kyle wants it. Kyle clearly doesn't want what we want. Or does Kyle say, well, I mean, yeah, I'm fine with, and it's clearly more of you guys, like, whatever. I mean, but there's some conversation there versus just throwing our
Right.
hands. Well, we disagree. You get in your car, I'll get mine, and we'll just go to a different spot.
Right.
We're just better together.
Or we compromise and go to senior salsa.
Yeah, which is, yeah, that might be dinner tonight. We got to go wrestle here in a little bit. And for the sake of conversation, with Christmas Eve being on Sunday, we are shooting this on Friday. So we go wrestle here in a little bit and wrestle at 2:00. It might be one of those things where dinner just might have to be senior salsa. So what's the, like for you, I mean, when you look at camp and you look at your past and you look at your walk here with RYLA, why do you continue to come back and really what's the, we're at a really weird point, and I say that and like there's a point of like, well, we've seen what, you know 200 plus campers looks like. We've also seen what our current state looks like. It's one of those things where like if it's just a numbers game, then we just try to figure out how to get more numbers.
Right.
But like there's absolutely kids and clubs that need to know about what we do that currently don't participate. Or the pandemic put a shift in who's responsible, and some people need to know more about it. Like if you could take like a minute to 30 seconds and tell people why it's important to send kids to camp or why it's important to volunteer at camp, what would you say?
Um, Boy, you really put me under a time constraint there. Um, I think it's important for people to get that transformation. And I think I'm going to start with volunteering. I think that Rotarians need to come and volunteer to be able to see that transformation, because without seeing it, it's almost hard to believe it. It's something that you just have to see. You have to see it all come together, because even in my opinion, even if you think about it, Friday is one day, or excuse me, Thursday's one day, Friday's one day, and then Saturday we kind of start to mold it together, and then Sunday we really like just put it in a perfect knot. In my opinion, it's not one of those that you can come Thursday and say, "Oh, this is really cool. We had fun at RYLA Mania. Those guys were really awesome. Matt and Kyle did great at MCing."
Right.
It's something that you've got to come to and kind of be invested in, and like I said earlier, be connected in from the whole time. And I'm telling you, I'm going to go over your 30 seconds to a minute. I'm sorry. But you have to see that whole thing. And I think that it starts there, because once the Rotarians see that and see that transformation, as I did, and I'm sure a lot of other people on leadership and chiefs and CITs that want to come back, that's what makes us be better advertisers, right? Like after being a camper, like I did not advertise RYLA very well, because we already talked about it. I wasn't connected. I went to the Rotary Club and I was like, yeah, I had fun. Okay, great. Like, what'd you do? Went over a wall. I did high ropes. Yeah, like great. But the next year, right? And when I continue to go back to Fredonia as I get the opportunity to, now that I see what goes on and the structure of it and how it's all tied up and connected, it makes me a better advertiser to go back to clubs and try to advertise that. I think obviously Aaron and Bethany are doing great with media and getting those videos going. But I think once you get the volunteers out to see it from those clubs that may not be participating, and I don't know really what that looks like, then I think it's going to be easier to do that. So I think that you just have to come see it, and that's kind of a cop-out answer, but I think why you need to come is because you're not going to believe it until you see it.
Right.
And then I think after that, the students will fall into place. Because I know we've got great. I mean, I just know we've got great Rotarians across the district that will be invested in and bought in once they see what it is and what it does.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think it's one of those things like, I go to clubs and it feels good to sit there and hear people talk about it. It feels good to see the video. And there is a group that sees it and go, hey, I want to be a part of that. But I can tell you that when you experience it, I mean, you look at so many of these Rotarians that come back, they come back because they dropped a kid off. They saw the experience at drop off and then they just loved it. And they're like, oh, I want to come be a part of that. David Bevan's a perfect example of that. David dropped off kids one year and the next, and he's literally like, I'm coming back. I will be a chaperone next year. And all he did was see the drop off. Like, like and now you've got David, who's just extremely committed. You got a Tom Cobb, right? 20 years. I was telling this the other day, 20 years of coming back and serving camp, 20 camps of leadership. And a part of that is because his club president was one of the ones that created RYLA in our district, George Payton. And then you've got Clay Langley as a part of that club. So like Tom has a good experience, and then Clay's willing to come have a good experience. And now all of a sudden, Sand Springs is highly invested. And to the point where now you've got Clay that has you've got your after hours club that Clay's helping support with a lot of our alumni and things like that. So I think that as much as I can talk about it, I can sell it, but
Right.
it's so different to see it. I mean, it's just
100%.
so different to see it. And you see it through the eyes at the same time, you see it through the eyes of campers. And if you don't have campers going to camp, how can you sell it that way? You
Right.
can't. The only way you can sell it is either by somebody from the district, somebody from our leadership team, or you physically showing up. And you showing up probably has the greatest experience possible, like getting to see it on that side of things. A little bit kind of on a different tune. I've asked some folks about, like some of the leadership takeaways, et cetera, from camp. And a little bit different tune for you. Like, when you look at the opportunity, I mean, so you're talking 2012 to today. So you've seen, 2 camps in 16, 2 camps in 23. You've seen, the pandemic, nothing in 2020, 21, 22, 2 and 23. So, you're going on 11 camps, if I count right in my head. Like, what do we really do that makes a difference? Like when it comes to, we're calling ourselves a leadership camp. Like what are we really doing over those 11 camps that you feel like that we can do that nobody else can do? Like, why should I send a kid to RYLA versus sending a kid to another leadership camp?
I mean, the thing that jumps out to me like right off the get go is students leading students.
Right.
It makes the students get out of their comfort zone, and that either A, they're like, I'm already a leader, I'm gonna crush this, or B, they're like, I want to be a leader and I need help doing it, or C, they're just, I'm not really a leader and I think this will just help me type of thing. But
Sure.
no matter what three that you come, like what three you're in, I just mumbled over my words. What one of those three that you're in, like you're still lead, like you have to get out of your comfort zone and lead, right? I mean, it comes from a structure of the top of, in 2012, you and Ron were doing everything almost, right? Like you were leading everything. You were leading the large group games. You were leading the sessions. You were leading this. And then you fast forward to now 2023, where we've got leadership staff now that, well, actually, I won't even fast forward that far. You fast forward to what, maybe 2016. Now I'm doing the large group games. And then I'm kind of dabbling in this and that, doing the tribe challenge and stuff and that. Now you fast forward to 2023. Now Kylie and Daniel are just absolutely crushing the large group games. So now it's no longer the Kyle show. It's more of, we are literally developing leaders from the top and making that leadership kind of rain down and give those people the opportunity to step into these roles and just grow as a leader. It's not just here's how you be a leader.
Sure.
You go and be a leader.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the opportunity to come, and I look at, selfishly, like I look at RYLAs across the nation, and like I don't see anybody just and we don't beat our chest either. So like I don't think anybody's out there just beating their chest saying we're the best. But I do think that at the same time, what you're speaking to, it's always been core to what I believe we should be, and that's students leading students. Not an adult sitting there during tribe time, not an adult sitting there during the tribe challenge dictating what's done. I mean, you're talking an 18-year-old leading a 17-year-old, and you're talking a maybe a 22, 21-year-old chief, but like the CITs are a year older.
Right.
I mean, all they have really is 365 days more experience, and they've already been through what that kid's going through.
Right.
But they're getting an opportunity to put those things in place that they learned a year ago.
Yeah.
Right. And then you see them going back and starting interact clubs and things like that. I think that's a little bit of the opportunity is, one, we got to get more. How do we get more kids? Two is it's that 365-day connection, because you've got these kids that go back and do great things in their community because they have an opportunity. Then there's some kids that they go back and there's nobody to support that next step. Like the Rotary Club maybe doesn't want to jump into something because that's just, some clubs are that way. And so if that kid doesn't have the support, then all of a sudden that kid goes, well, I guess I can't do it on my own. But then you've got places like Afton and Fairland and places like that up towards Miami where they're just creating interact clubs like crazy because you've got an adult that's willing to jump in there with them. So I think there's some opportunity there too. That's what makes our camp unique, is that there can be follow-up. It's not just I went to camp and move on. So Um, just as we kind of wrap up here, as always, I'm always grateful of having you and having you on our team, and um, with the willingness and ability to support, and really support wherever needed. And I think that's really mission critical. Is like that is the team of people we have. It's like, hey, tell me what you need, tell me how, and I'll figure out how to get us there. And we've got there in a lot of ways. If that's changing up RYLA Mania, changing up the Amazing Race, like it just putting ourselves out there a little bit to maybe be a little vulnerable, a little silly, like at the same time, like let's figure out how to make it better. Like let's not just check a box and pull the same, and at 902 when this year it looks like 902 last year. That things look a little different there. And I appreciate your willingness to always be flexible and play that role. As I know you've been asked to jump into stuff, jump out of stuff. Hey, we need to do this. Hey, we need to do that. On that side of things. So I'm very grateful of you being willing to do that there. Anything you want to add in closing, or any words of wisdom you want to provide?
No, not really. Merry Christmas. Go out and get yourself red truck, hauling a Christmas tree if you don't have one already. Stay awesome. Continue to invest. All the things that we talk about on the daily. But just be nice to people, especially during the holidays. You should do it all the time, but especially during the holidays, man. You don't know what somebody else is going through.
Yeah, go get you. Go see if you can find you some kindness. If you can't find it, give us a call. We'll help you. We'll help you find
Absolutely.
it. You're not going to find it on a shelf. You will
Yeah.
find a little red truck with a Christmas tree. I guarantee you. You will see it.
Yeah.
You'll see that this week somewhere. Probably
Also Christmas tree cakes.
Yeah, at the Walmart and Sky took's out, dog.
Oof. Rest in peace, man.
I've been without for a week.
Yikes.
Real talk. Yeah. So you don't know me, Joe Rogan. I said, yeah, I've been without him for a week. Starting to get a little uneasy over here. Need my sugar.
That's funny.
Well, we appreciate you, brother. You guys at the RYLA Routine, thank you so much today again. Kyle and I shooting this early, but have a Merry Christmas. I'll get back at you before the new year. I'm going to do kind of a RYLA wrap up. I think we have some special guests from the Hancock household that are going to be a part of that. Apparently there's a 7, 9, and 11-year-old that think they have to be on the RYLA Routine, so we're going to make that happen. Newest member of the Hancock household behind me. He does not have a name yet. He will get a name soon. Don't walk into Petco if you don't have if you have a heart, because you'll walk out with a cat. So appreciate all you guys. Have an awesome Christmas. We'll talk to you next week, and stay blessed.